Good afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time it is for you, YouTube. Welcome back to what is now called On the Ball. Zach and I had talked about this quite a bit. We're excited about it. So welcome back to On the Ball. Today is September 15th. It's Tuesday. And we are here to kind of give our week one reviews of the NFL season and what's going on. We're excited about that. We're also going to answer some questions. So really excited to be hosting this again this time, and definitely excited to have Zach next to me again. So before we get into it, Zach, got anything to say?
No, just back at it. Week one in the books. So we'll go over kind of our thoughts here.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start with the game that that happened right after our first one. We're going to go ahead and start with the Thursday night game, Chiefs versus Texans. Zach, did you see anything in that game that was? We both kind of said that we didn't have a dog in this fight. Did you see anything that kind of really stood out to you? Or a disappointment for that matter?
Not really. I think the Chiefs putting up 34 points is what the Chiefs offense is going to do pretty much the whole year. The Texans, I did watch some of this game. Deshaun Watson and that offense looked a little out of sync, which is expected. They have basically three receivers that are new to him. If you count Will Fuller, who missed a decent chunk of last year. So it's going to take some time for them. But I think this scoreline was pretty expected.
Yeah. I wasn't really all that impressed with Texans defense, and I was surprised really by the Chiefs defense. I think they played really well. I mean, they were at Arrowhead, but when you have little to no fans in the stands, how much of an impact does it really have? So, other than that, I think we both kind of predicted a Chiefs victory here, and neither one of us is really surprised by that. So we'll go ahead and move on to kind of those 1 p.m. games. A lot of games. Obviously, first week of the NFL, every team plays. You've got your one Thursday night game. You've got the 9 1 p.m. games. I think 3 or 4 4 p.m. games, the Sunday night, and then the 2 Monday night games. Of this list, I gotta say, seeing the Raiders score 34 points on an offense that you weren't really sure what you were going to get was really shocking to me. I was really surprised that they got 34 points. And yeah, Carolina's team isn't that great, but at the same time, we're talking 34 points from a team that, again, doesn't have many offensive weapons that we know of, and a quarterback that you're really not certain about in Derek Carr, at least for me.
Yeah, well, I think I touched on last week, Josh Jacobs. He got the ball 25 times, 25 touches out of the backfield, another 4 catches, looking at the stats here, for almost 50 yards, racked up 3 touchdowns. So if you're wondering where their offense came from, that's where it came from. Their receivers, Darren Waller, first time I've ever said that name, led their team in catches there with 45 yards. So I don't think this was very Derek Carr driven. I think it was just Josh Jacobs running all over the Panthers. And then on the Panthers side, Bridgewater, he had a pretty solid game. I think I
Life's
mentioned
unpredictable.
That Panthers fans might have a little something to watch with McCaffrey and Bridgewater, and Teddy Bridgewater had a decent game. So
yeah, I actually got one of the score lines wrong. The New York Jets-Buffalo game was 27 for Buffalo, 17 for the Jets. So don't know how I had that typo, but I have that typo there. No surprise there. We both predict Bills to be the best team in this division. So no surprises there. I think one of my favorite texts I received on Sunday was maybe I gave too much credit to the Browns. And it came from you.
Yeah.
And,
I think I told you to rescind my, I think it was 9-7.
Yeah.
Browns.
Yeah. And we'll come back to that a little bit later on in the show, obviously. But that was one of the highlights of my day. Just getting that text message and just being like, oh well, you're not wrong. I think
that was, to be fair, that was like halfway through the first quarter, so I didn't send that when it was 38-6. That was early on.
I think my biggest surprise, and I think a big surprise to a lot of people, football fans out there, was honestly the Washington football team and what they did to Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia came out 17 points ahead, right? 17-0. And then they just got slaughtered in the second half. I mean, I've got people asking me questions like, when will we say that Carson Wentz isn't a good quarterback, isn't NFL quarterback worthy? And I mean, that's got to sting for the fans of Philadelphia, and that's got to sting for, you know, their head coach and that team. I mean, you come out, you're playing well, especially against Dwayne Haskins and a team that really isn't that good in Washington.
I think Philly was missing their lead running back. He was out with a hamstring injury. Obviously Washington winning is a surprise, but Ron Rivera's a really good coach. He's a winning coach in the NFL, and they did enough to kind of beat we already decided not a decent Philadelphia team who was out there, their starting running back. So
yeah,
they were going to steal one. This probably was the week that Washington was going to steal one.
And I gotta kind of talk a little bit about Carson Wentz, because I kind of was on his bandwagon a little bit. I think everyone was kind of shocked in 2016 when they got rid of maybe it was 2015 when they got rid of Nick Foles, who had an amazing year. I think they brought in Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford had a horrible year, and they brought in Carson Wentz. I mean, I think Carson Wentz, I'd make the argument that Carson Wentz is a starting quarterback, easily a starting quarterback in this league when healthy. And I don't think you can take a lot of I don't think he should take as much of the hit as he is taking right now when this team doesn't succeed. I think that hit comes from the fact that this is a quarterback-driven league, right? Like, the quarterback, you have the most pressure. But as you said, starting running back is out. That's hard on anybody, any starting quarterback and any team. So I don't know. I'm not ready to say he's a bust yet, but he's got to stay healthy.
I'm looking at the numbers here. They racked up 57 total rushing yards.
That's hard to win a game with that.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. Alrighty.
I guess. Do you want to touch on the elephant in the room here?
I mean, I can touch on the elephant in the room. Honestly, I look at these week 1 games, and I'm not just saying this to defend the Colts here, because they lost to Jacksonville. We have historically had a hard time of winning games in Jacksonville. They've come down to like a field goal or very, very close games. I think with no preseason, the first week of games are really difficult to look at and say, oh yeah, this is what that team's going to be. They've been against their own guys. But my question for someone like Phillip Rivers or Darius Leonard or, Russell Wilson or one of those players is, what kind of film did you have to watch? Especially against a Jacksonville Jaguar team that looks significantly different than it did in years past. Yeah, they have the same head coach in Doug Marrone, but they have completely different personnel. And frankly, the Colts defense just didn't play up to the game. Phillip Rivers made 2 mistakes, 2 forced balls that he shouldn't have made. But I think we still had like 435 yards compared to like 220. Like, our defense kept them to like 220 yards. It was just bad field positioning, left too many points on the field. I fully expect the Colts to come back stronger this coming week against the Vikings. They'll be at home. They'll be in a better environment, and they'll have 1 game under their belt. And I think that will help them. But really, we need to see more from our defense. I think it was like I was playing Madden the Yard right there in zone defense. Like, literally, Gardner Minshew, I think, had 2 incompletions the whole game. He had 142% passer rating. Like, that's...
Yeah, 19 for 20.
Yeah, he was 19 for 20 with 142 passer rating. Like, come on. This is Gardner Minshew. I know he's playing well. I know he had good stints last time. We'll talk about him a little bit more in the later in the show. But we got to be better. Our defense has just got to be better, and there's no excuse to that. You know, like I said, not really surprised, but at the same time, like, they've got to be better. They just have to. And I think it's big to say, though, you know, your Seahawks played incredibly well. I mean,
yeah,
Russell had a great game.
I actually ended up watching that whole game. First, you know, week 1 excitement. So I sat through the whole game. Usually with the Seahawks, you're tuning in the third quarter because, you know, that's when they turn on the Jets. But they had the Jets on the whole game. Russell Wilson, I think, had 3 incompletions, if I remember correctly. And the defense looked really good. Jamal Adams had an amazing game.
Yeah.
He's going to be a huge addition. Receivers look good. Running game was split and looked solid. So
you want to take that running game? You want to take that running game looked split and solid back?
Why is that?
Because I think their total yardage was like 85 yards.
I mean, that's
Carlos Hyde had 7 carries for 23 yards. Chris Carson had 6 for 21.
I saw a stat as of, it was the middle of Sunday, so don't quote me on this if it was, you know, Monday night games and whatnot, but I don't think there was a 100-yard rusher all of Sunday. And I'm sure
that wouldn't surprise me.
Team over 100, but rushing was down this week. Rushing was down, so 84 yards on 20 carries. You know, actually, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah. I mean that definitely is a huge spot for you guys. I mean, Russell was 31 of 35 with 4 TDs, no interceptions. I mean, he took care of the ball. He won the game. I mean, I guess the bigger question is, what does the rest of this NFL season look like? Because you had Russell Wilson that went 31 of 35. Like, I'm just curious, like, quarterback stats right now for this first week. I'm curious to see, like, what the overall, like, completion, incomplete passer rating was. Like, Russell Wilson had 86% completion. Philip Rivers had 78. Matt Ryan was one of the lowest at 68. But, like, you have, you know, you've got, if my freaking whatchamacallit will work, you know, take out the people that only had, like, 1 pass in Taysom Hill and Robert Griffin III. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players above a 70% completion percentage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah, I don't know what would be driving that early trend.
Physicality of the
been one game,
corners?
But yeah, maybe there's something to be said, kind of touching on your scouting point from earlier, but there's no preseason games.
Yeah.
Scouting and fitness could be an issue. You know, a lot of these teams, maybe teams are running shorter routes, higher completion routes, just with fitness.
Yeah.
Not being quite where it is, instead of running all over the field. Who knows?
Big question for you that I actually just thought about. Cam Newton. Is he able to keep up what he did this past Sunday? I mean,
I wanted to bring this up because I said in our previous week there, I didn't think he was going to be the runner that he's been since the start of his career. And he had 15 carries. I believe it was 14 designed runs, what I saw. 14 designed runs for 75 yards, I believe.
Yeah, 75 yards, 15 attempts on 75 yards.
Yeah. And he tacked on a touchdown on there. So
only 3 running backs had plus 100 yards week 1, and it was Benny Snell for, I honestly don't know which team Benny Snell plays for. He plays for the Steelers. Benny Snell,
so Monday game.
Derrick Henry, Monday game, and Clyde Edwards. I can't say his last name. But I mean,
Hilaire, I think.
yeah, Benny Snell did it in 19 attempts. Derrick Henry did it in 31 attempts. So that follows your prediction that Titans are just going to run him to the ground. And Clyde did it in 25. So it's like, Ezekiel Elliott 96 yards, Adrian Peterson 93, Josh Jacobs 93, Kyler Murray 13 attempts for 91 yards. I mean, geez, that's a lot of running for a quarterback. I mean, and Kareem Hunt, he followed form, 13 rushes on 72 yards. I mean, that's a lot of predictions there. I mean, at least the Browns have one good thing going for them. You think
what's that?
You think Cam Newton makes it through the season?
I mean, that's
running like this.
Any running quarterback, any hit could be the one.
Yeah.
You don't know. You could get hit 10 times in a game and all just be standard tackles and be fine, and then you get the one where you didn't see the guy coming from your left.
Yeah.
He grabs your leg, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say. It obviously, anytime you run the ball, it increases your injury risk.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
Looks like.
We're going to go ahead and, which it makes me hate Bill Belichick even more, that he's able to do what he's able to do. It's ridiculous. We'll go ahead and hop over to the 4 p.m. games, so the late games. Do you have any? I mean, I think we pretty much predicted most of these games. I think the biggest stick out to me was how poor Tom Brady actually played. I mean, guy didn't look like he was there.
He didn't get any help from his receivers. And I saw after I think the week had concluded, and this was either, I think it was late last night. He actually came in as the 8th rated quarterback from Pro Football Focus for week 1.
Okay.
Which was surprising. And I watched a good chunk of that game. His receivers did not get many help. Mike Evans was just MIA. I think he had one catch, ended up being a touchdown.
Yeah, he was lost. He was lost
in the 4th quarter. And the running backs, it's gonna be a question actually with the Bucks. I don't know if Brady has one of his, patented receiving running backs that he just loves dumping it off to 7-8 times a game. Tampa there.
Last week I didn't think about that, and that's something that you bring up that point, and I think that's a great point. You think about James White, who he had at New England, Corey Dillon, all these bigger backs that he had that he could just dump the ball off, and then they could make things happen in space. You're right, man. They don't really have that guy that can potentially have that guy that can make those plays. So that will be an interesting thing to see. I mean, I think he's got better pure rushers than he's probably ever had.
Yeah.
But as far as that catching out of the backfield, can Leonard Fournette do that? And I don't know.
I don't think Fournette is going to be that guy. Ronald Jones had 2 receptions for 16 yards. I don't think he's much of a pass catching back. Maybe he's been working on that just with knowing Tom Brady's coming to Tampa.
Yeah.
And then the third guy that you see there is LaShawn McCoy, who you think, in the past, he caught a ton of balls and very elusive out of the backfield, but
he's 41?
Yeah, who knows how old he is. I was going to say 31, but I was going to give him 10 years benefit of the doubt. But I don't think he's catching 100 balls out of that backfield.
He's actually 32, so you were way closer than me. It feels like he's 41. It feels like that guy's been around forever.
It does.
I don't have really any other big shockers from these games. I mean, Tom Brady had 222 yards, I think that, and 2 interceptions. I mean, I don't think I remember the last time Tom Brady had 2 interceptions in a game. But I think they'll get it figured out. I think it's just a matter of time. Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. Again, week 1, no preseason, no film, new receivers, new team, new head coach,
new offense, everything.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't know. My Super Bowl prediction could be wrong.
Yeah, it's looking iffy.
So moving. Or go ahead.
One real quick on that. Just I think we both had the Cardinals doing big things this year, but their offense looked explosive. They looked really good.
Yeah.
With Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins connecting, I think 14 times. 14, yep,
Yeah, it was
14
14.
times.
It was a career high for him. Yeah, it was a career high.
Murray carried the ball 13 times for almost 100 yards.
Yeah.
Tacked on a touchdown on there. So they're gonna be fun to watch.
I think I definitely I hate to say this to him, but I think I was on the 49ers bandwagon for this game. And simply because they're at home, it's relatively hard, and you didn't really know what you were going to get week one with the Cardinals' new offense. Would Murray have the relationship with Hopkins that you hope he has? But I mean, as you can see, Hopkins left off where he was with Watson, and now he's with Kyle Murray. So, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch. I'll be interested to see how he was 26 of 40 through the air, though. So I'll be interested to see how he progresses throughout this season when it comes to passing. If he can be more passing quarterback too and have that balance, I think that will be really good for him. Then you'll be looking at like a Lamar Jackson or a Deshaun Watson or a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Upsides there though. They're gonna be fun.
Yeah, they're gonna be fun to watch. Definitely a team to watch. So going on to Sunday night, I don't know about you. I watched a lot of this game. I actually watched it when my girlfriend was taking a shower, because that's about the only time I'll probably get to watch football with her, which is fine. But I was watching a lot of this, and different coach, great players, same result for Dallas. I mean, I hate to say it, but they just had no fight there. It seemed like at the end of the game they were just kind of done.
Dallas they always just seem to be missing something. It's almost like the clutch factor, or that like killer instinct.
Yeah.
To just put teams away and make drives when they need to make drives, make stops when you make stops. It's been 1 week, but it looked, like you said, it looked like more of the same. They're going to be such a weak division. I think what the Washington football team were the only team to come out of that division with a win.
I think they were.
They're still going to win games, but like I mentioned in the first week, I can see them being a first-round bounce in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They win that division.
I think the Rams looked really good. I think all of their receivers played incredibly well. I mean, Kupp just got that big contract. I think it was like $56 million extension. Mm-hmm. I mean, they looked really good, as I think both of us thought they would be. We knew the NFC West was going to be a last game decider, basically.
Yeah, Aaron Donald had I think he was the third highest rated player in the whole NFL for week 1 for Football Focus. So they got him. Defense is scary, and two of the hot teams here are in the Seahawks division. So it's gonna be a tough year for them.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, but it will definitely be interesting. And we'll finally go to Monday night. I would say that one of my big surprises was just the fact that Denver stuck with Tennessee the way they did. I think we're a little. I think I should be a little bit disappointed in Tennessee. Maybe not Denver sticking with Tennessee, but Tennessee choking and letting Denver
their
stick
kicker. Gostkowski missed 4 field goals, I think it was.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Adam Vinatieri 2.0, like.
Yeah, this could have been a 31-14 game.
Tannehill didn't really make many mistakes. 29 of 43 for 249 with 2 TDs. I mean, I think anybody would accept that value Corey Davis, 101 yards receiving on 7 catches, no TDs, but I think you accept that, especially with Derrick Henry carrying the ball for 31 times. Pretty good balance with that, and I don't know. We'll see week 2. We'll see what they do. And I'm not even going to talk about that Pittsburgh Giants game. That was awful. That was awful by the Giants. Just terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Week 1.
Week 1's in the books. We got week 2 next week, obviously, starting Thursday. Yep. Got some good games on the docket for that. I'm pulling them up real quick. I'll just quickly run through them and let me know which ones you think you're going to keep a close eye on. So Thursday night, we got Bengals versus Browns. That's going to be a snooze fest. I'm not going to watch that game. Sunday at 1, we got the Jags and Titans, Panthers, Bucks, Broncos, Steelers, Rams, Eagles, 49ers, Jets. I haven't found a game that I'm really interested in watching yet. Bills, Dolphins, still not. I'll watch the Colts game versus the Vikings at home. Green Bay and Lions. Probably the first game worth watching that isn't a homer game is Falcons and Cowboys, both 0-1 at Dallas. I think that'll probably be a good game to watch. You got the Giants and the Bears, Washington and the Cardinals. Who knows? Washington may surprise us again. Chiefs, Chargers, not going to be great. Ravens versus Texans. I think that'll be a good game.
That'll be a good one. Yep.
Patriots.
That Monday night game looks pretty nice too.
Yeah, the Saints versus Raiders.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're going to be watching Sunday night with Seahawks and Patriots. So see if Cam can keep it up. I mean,
should be a good one.
We'll see where it goes from there. I'm looking forward to that. So
yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're done with kind of that recap. From here, we're going to kind of go into the questions that we got, and I posted on Facebook, and I sent you some of the questions and kind of what I had. So we'll just go down the line, and we'll start with you on this one. One of my friends asked, why do the Browns continue to suck? And which rookie do you think had the best showing? So what do you think, Zach?
Yeah, well, we touched on the Browns. Man, I didn't see any of the game, but I was reading, some people that were catching some of that game, and apparently Baker Mayfield was just missing everyone. There were opportunities for him to make some completions, and he was just overthrowing guys, underthrowing guys. So you may be right. He might be one of those guys. Johnny Manziel 2.0.
Yeah.
A lot of show, no results.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they got a lot of talent on that team. They just can't put it together. It's early, but not a good showing week 1.
Which rookie had the best showing for you? Who'd you think?
Yeah, well, I think other than the obvious one, Clyde Edwards with the Chiefs, he carried the ball, and as if the Chiefs need a guy who can carry it 25 times. He had an awesome week 1, but the Panthers receiver Robbie Anderson, to me, catching a 75-yard touchdown. Teddy Bridgewater, I think you mentioned last week, who did the Panthers have to throw to? And I mentioned DJ Moore, and it looks like they're going to have a guy opposite him who they can throw it to as well. So.
Yeah, I think, so if I had to answer that question, I think the biggest one for me, why do the Browns continue to suck? I think for me, the biggest thing is they have no continuity in that franchise. I mean, think about how many head coaches they've had in the last 10 years. I mean, I think they've had like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there, and they haven't had the same. I think Baker Mayfield might be the first quarterback that they've had that has started 2 years in a row. And so I think that's a huge issue. Front office changes constantly. They had Scott Dorsey, who made all of those great moves and was given 2 years, and nothing happened. And now they go with a guy, and I hate to say this, but because I know a family member of his, but Ryan Grigson is in that front office of the Cleveland Browns. I think giving them the first round pick from the Colts to get Trent Richardson over there has indebted him a job with the Cleveland Browns whenever he wants them. I mean, I just don't understand how you can have as much talent as you have and not play well. And I think it just comes down to how much change has been with the Cleveland Browns. And for me, the best showing that I saw from a rookie other than Clyde is CJ Henderson with the Jaguars. Dude was up against T.Y. Hilton, who's considered one of the best wide receivers in the game. I would consider him up there. Is he a top 5? No. Is he a top 3? Probably not. But he's a top 10, top 15 guy. I mean, he 1,000 yards pretty much for 7 years straight. He's a premier target in this league. And CJ Henderson, the last 2 plays against TY and kind of shut him down and had a pick, and I think he had a sack as well. I mean, the dude was just all over the place, played incredibly well. For a rookie to come in and play at that level against someone like T.Y. Hilton is just, it's not Julio Jones, but still pretty dang good wide receiver. So he's got to be my standout. It'll be fun to watch him kind of. I'm willing to bet he has a better season than Jalen Ramsey did his rookie year, and Jalen had a pretty good rookie year. So, another question that we have here is from another one of my friends is, what do the Colts do now considering the loss of Marlon Mack, and can Jonathan Taylor be a franchise running back? That's a hard one.
Yeah.
For me, tough. I mean, losing Mack, he was one of our first 1,000-yard rushers in a long time for the Colts. Great player. Mack is explosive. The thing that I'll note, though, is Nyheim Hines had a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, I believe. So he was 2 touchdowns of our 20 points.
Yep.
I mean, I've always liked Nyheim Hines. When we drafted Jonathan Taylor, I was really worried about what would happen to Nyheim Hines because I thought Nyheim Hines was a great back, especially a receiving back. So honestly, with the ability that Jonathan Taylor showed, the hard-nosed running, the being able to get the yards, I'm pretty confident with more touches, Jonathan Taylor is going to be a great running back. How long he'll be a great running back, who knows? I mean, he's still a rookie. We got to see a little bit more, but he's running behind, PFF's number 1 offensive line in the league. So he should do pretty well. I think we'll survive without Mack. Obviously, it's a huge loss, and you feel for the guys in a contract year. But you feel for him. It'll be interesting to see what the Colts do at the end of the season with him. But I think they'll be in an okay spot with the running back position.
The one thing Rivers loves to do is he loves to dump it off to those pass-catching running backs. And Nyheim Hines, 8 catches, 45 yards, touchdown.
Yeah.
He's gonna be big for them out of the backfield. So
I'm not sure we'll feel the loss of Mack as bad as someone say Vander Esch with the Cowboys. Their defense will feel that. So we'll go ahead and we'll get away from a Colts question real quick. Zach, we had a question of which young quarterbacks do you think are overhyped and which ones are legit? And the list that they gave us were Josh Allen, Minshew, Wentz, Trubisky, Mayfield, Murray, Prescott, and Goff. And I think we could add into that Patrick Mahomes, Watson, and we'll add Garoppolo to that list.
Garoppolo. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think all those guys are NFL starting quarterbacks. Trubisky's the only one I say with hesitation, obviously. He had a great week 1. But that's not enough yet for me to put behind his disastrous year last year.
Yeah.
So, if you're a Bears fan, though, you're kind of exhaling just a little bit. You're still holding your breath, but you're starting your exhale.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen, he's a dual threat guy, pretty legit. Minshew, he's a fun guy. He's kind of perplexing to me. I don't know really how he does it, and I honestly can't say I've seen him play that much, but he's put up numbers in the games that he's played, and he did it again week 1. Carson Wentz, we kind of already touched on. I think he's a good quarterback. he might not ever lead the league in passing, but he's a good quarterback. Mayfield, we've touched on. It's not looking pretty. Kyler Murray, beastly week 1. He's going to be fun. Prescott, I think we touched on him a bit last week, but he's not quite one of those top 5 guys that people are saying he can be, and the contract he's asking for would say that he is. But he can lead the Cowboys, and Jared Goff is a solid kind of upgraded Alex Smith, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think for me, like when we talk about young quarterbacks, I mean, obviously you think about Jackson, Watson, Mahomes.
They're legit.
They're the best of the best. Mayfield, he was overhyped. I thought he was overhyped coming out of college. Murray, I think he's legit. I think he will be legit. I don't think he's there yet, but I think he will be legit. I think Wentz is legit as long as he stays healthy. Trubisky, number 2 overall pick. I think he was overhyped. Goff, I think he's a legit quarterback. I don't think he's a top 10, every year, but I think he does the job. I liked your Alex Smith comparison there. And the one that I just think is super overhyped, and I have argued this for so freaking long. I even made a bet with someone last year. I didn't win the bet, but I don't think Dak Prescott is the guy. I wouldn't want him on the Colts. I think he plays well. I just don't think he has that killer instinct that you want in your quarterback. I don't think he's ever had that killer instinct. You see when you lose to the Rams by 3, and you hold your destiny and you don't make it happen. I know he's got a lot of game-winning drives, and he has, but is he worth $40 million a year? Not on my team. There's just no way. So, next question. Is this the year Russell Wilson finally gets MVP votes? And is Gardner Minshew already better than Aaron Rodgers in every way? And why is the answer yes?
Yeah. No. But to the Aaron Rodgers Minshew comparison. Rodgers, he had a huge week 1, so I think I mentioned if he can bring back some of that 2015 mojo, Packers are going to be in shape. They're going to win that division. But Russell Wilson, man, I mean, he's got to be the most underrated player in football.
I would agree with that.
I'd say like a year and a half ago, easily the most underrated player. He's starting to get some notice. I don't know where that really came from. Just mainstream media, Pacific Northwest, kind of takes some time to catch on. But if he plays like week 1, he's gonna be in that conversation, as he probably should have been in the past couple of years.
Oh yeah, so. I would agree with that completely, especially if they happen to fall like you said they wouldn't make it to the Super Bowl. I think if the Seahawks make it to the Super Bowl, he keeps playing the way he's playing. There's no way he's not getting MVP votes and probably gets there. As far as the Gardner Minshew, already better than Aaron Rodgers. To the guy that asked this question, Tom, if Gardner Minshew is better than Aaron Rodgers, Gardner Minshew is better than Russell Wilson. I'll leave it at that. And that's where I'll leave it because, frankly, Aaron Rodgers, in my mind, is the best quarterback in the NFL. Overall, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Russell is really close. I think Russell is a great overall, pure, talented quarterback. But if I'm starting a team and I have to have a quarterback, in my mind, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, though, he's been in the league a while. He's getting up there in age. So
True.
I don't know if I'd crown him, king of the quarterbacks, but as we saw, he's still got some of that 26-year-old Rodgers in the tank there.
I think with Jordan Love in the wings, I think Aaron's got something to prove, and I think we're going to see an Aaron Rodgers that's very scary.
Yeah.
So the last question we have, and Zach, you don't necessarily have to answer this. I have put together an Excel spreadsheet so that I could answer this question properly. The last question I had is someone asked, why after a promising start has the Colts defense seemed to get worse? So those that don't know, our defensive coordinator is Matt Eberflus from Dallas. He was from the Dallas Cowboys. Great Rod Marinelli style of play. And his first season, he had a great season. I mean, the Colts defense with the personnel that they had was, I think, surprising to most of the league. In 2017, last year of Chuck Pagano, we were ranked 30th, and we gave up 25 points per game with only 20 turnovers and 25 sacks with 102 penalties for 822 yards. It's rough for a defense. 102 penalties is rough. Since Eberflus took over, in 2018, we were ranked 10th in defense, averaging 22 points per game with 26 turnovers and 38 sacks. So our sacks went up drastically. Turnovers went up some. Penalties, though, we had 131 for 1,115 yards. That's rough. And in 19, still good stats. They were ranked 18th with 23 points per game allowed, 8 rushing TDs allowed, 29 passing TDs, 23 turnovers, and 41 sacks with 111 penalties for 1,040 yards. So what that tells me is, one, I can tell you that last year our defense was not as strong because they were on the field so freaking much. Jacoby Brissett could not get down the field. There was no extended drives by them. Thus, our defense was incredibly tired, which leads to them not looking as good because they're tired. And in reality, they only allowed like 49 more yards or 114 more yards compared to what they allowed in 18. Our run defense was like one of the best run defenses in the league. We only allowed 8 rushing TDs for 1,500 yards. It was one of the best. This year, they're predicted 27 points per game. If your defense can hold a team to under 27 points a game with the offense we have, we should be winning games. Now, not to say our defense shouldn't be playing better, but we should be winning games if we hold the team under 27 points per game, period, with the offense we have. So, have we gotten worse? Stats would say that we have. How much worse? I think it's marginal. I think other teams have just gotten better on defense. We've added a lot of points. We've never really had a great secondary. So hopefully our secondary can get better throughout this season, and we'll be better from that. So that's kind of my analysis on that. And I think they'll get there. I hope they'll get there. They had four sacks this past week. So if they can keep that up, that's 64 sacks if they get 4 sacks a game. They're not going to get 4 sacks a game, but I'd take 64 sacks in a season. So,
hey, all I'm saying is Colts have to go 13-2 to meet your prediction.
That's fine. That's fine. I believe in them. Like I said, week 1 we usually lose one game to the Jaguars. So I'm confident that they can do what they are going to do, and that's what a good fan does. They're confident in their team. So yeah, that's where it is. Anything else that you kind of want to touch on, Zach, before we sign off here?
No, I think we covered a good amount of stuff this week. Just be interesting to get another week of data and be able to see some of these trends, see what's for real and what's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we're not going to just talk about football on this podcast stream, whatever we're calling it. We're not going to just talk about football on the ball. That's why we wanted to make sure it was on the ball. We will probably only be talking about sports that have balls, though. And anytime I hear on the ball, I think of from Top Gun, where Maverick says, Roger, Maverick has a ball. So I will probably think about that the whole time we do this. But we're hoping to have an NBA. We're hoping the NBA finals. We can do a preview for the finals in maybe 2 weeks till we upload. We're not sure yet. We're talking that through, but we've got some good things coming for you. We're gonna have a NBA final preview. We're gonna have a MLB playoff preview, which Zach is gonna lead. I mean, he's gonna be the expert, quote unquote expert of this group on baseball, and I think we'll probably be in a mixture on basketball. I don't think you probably know quite a bit more than me on basketball, but I think that's why I think we balance ourselves out really well. And who knows, we may have a guest in a couple weeks with some stories of former Colts players or other players that were around. I haven't quite told Zach about that yet, but guys, really appreciate you guys stopping by. I know it's a long video. Again, we're at 45 minutes. I think Zach and I have talked about it being anywhere from 30 to 50 is kind of where we want to keep it. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Hope you're enjoying the content. Thank you so much for the first week of support. We are super happy with the first week of support. So if you enjoyed what you listened to, like and subscribe this. Stick around for other videos. We're also live on Twitch. Like I said, I'm the only one that generally streams. Maybe now that Zach has a webcam, if everybody noticed, maybe he'll stream a little bit on Twitch. Who knows? But we're live. I'll be live on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So go over there, twitch.tv/DemigodColt, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks so much.
Yep. Signing off.